Corcuera, Cristina P. Corcuera, one of the members of this video reporting. Thank you for clicking on this video, and this video is part of our project NBS Set 1, which is the EL subject. Our topic can broaden your knowledge as well as reporter's knowledge and the structure of English. So, we are assigned to tackle the structure of English specifically at Unit 3, which is punctuation. And this video, particularly the series of structure of English, you may also check my classmates' videos for you to be able to understand more. So, the objective of our topic, the reporter will demonstrate an understanding of punctuation through correct usage. Identify when each punctuation is needed. So, when teaching a language, most teachers are often with punctuation of the least among the priorities. However, it is something that most students wrestle with. Using punctuation correctly and accurately is what concerns most of them. So, punctuation not only changes the meaning of a sentence, but also helps one express ideas a lot more clearly. Punctuation replaces contextual clues when conveying meaning and speaking events. As future English teachers, you will be faced with the challenge of building student skills in the appropriate use of punctuation. Hence, you have to be proficient and knowledgeable in punctuation yourself and master some strategies and techniques in the use of punctuation that you can share and apply to your learners. So, mastery in the use of punctuation is very important to help your learners develop and enhance English language proficiency, specifically in the written language, with the help of appropriate input in the use of punctuation. So, what is punctuation? So, as what I've mentioned kanina, that punctuation are least among the priorities, but punctuation skills pala are very important in writing. So, punctuation can make a huge difference in the meaning with what one is writing. This is why punctuation are marks commonly used in English grammar such as period, question marks, exclamation point, comma, semicolon, colon, dash, hyphen, parenthesis, brackets, braces, apostrophe, quotation marks, and ellipses. These marks are special symbols that are added to writing to separate phrases and sentences to show something is a question, a command, and etc. So what are the importance of punctuation marks? Punctuation puts senses, clarity, and stress in sentences. So without further ado, let's get into the other topics that tackle punctuations.
I will introduce myself first. I am Karla Cruz, your reporter for this video. So there are two types of punctuation styles. The first one is close punctuation. Close punctuation is most often used in informal texts like report, thesis, and dissertations, and also term paper. So ang close punctuation is kanang gina-use siya sa kanang mga informal text. As I said, sa mga reporting, so ginagamit siya. Sa thesis and sa mga term paper, so very mostly ginagamit ang close punctuation. So also use of commas or period after salutation, complementary, close abbreviations, etc. in English correspond. So, ang close punctuation is use po din siya commas or period na after sa mga salutation, after sa mga abbreviations. There are two examples of close punctuation. Number one is Dear Sally. Abbreviation, Mr. Jason dapat. So when you look at example number 1, Dear Sally, so na ay comma in Dear Sally, abbreviation in Mr. and period in Mr. also, then Jason dapat. Number 2, emotions give rise to specific action yet these very actions themselves, when acted out, can also give rise to their respective emotions. So, ang imo daw emotions is maghatag siya og specific action. If ang imo emotion is mag-rise, maghatag siya og specific action to. So, number 2, open punctuation. Open punctuation is more commonly used in personal communications like newspaper, where it puts the guide, the reader, and make the meaning clear. So, ang open punctuation it is a guide sa mga newspaper para ang meaning is clear siya na imong masabtan. So, stand for omission of characters and marks such full stops, periods, colons, or commas in the address. So, ang open punctuation also is nag-stand siya sa omission of characters. So, nara dali magamit ang periods, ang colons, and commas in the address nga itong ginabuhat. Actually, does require any punctuations marks unless it is necessary to abbreviate a word at the end of the line. So, dili ta mag-require or dili necessary nga mag-require punctuation marks unless lang na ay abbreviation at the end of the line. So, example, the door remained closed yet to someone who tried to keep quiet was definitely there. So, wala siya colons, wala siya commas or abbreviation, but naa siya period at the end of the line.
So, good day everyone. I am Ellah Catarman from BSED 1 Section 1. So, and now I am going to report my topic about punctuating abbreviation. Punctuating abbreviation is abbreviation or a form of punctuation used to represent a complete word, phrase, or sentence. Two-letter abbreviation for state names are among the most commonly used. First, period are always used with Latin abbreviation but not with contraction. For abbreviation in general, US and UK English differ from each other. In United States or US, titles take a period. So the example is first, the first is doctor to doctor, and the second is Mr. to Mr. And the last one is honorable to on. So here are the 3 examples of US abbreviation. The Latin abbreviation of EG stands for Exempli Gratia, which translate literally as for the sake of an example, but you can really just cut out the stop in the middle and read it as for example. So it is used to give an example or set of example to help clarify the preceding idea. The United Kingdom or UK titles take a period only if the abbreviation does not end on the last letter of the full word. The example here is for UK first is doctor to doctor. Second is Mr. to Mr. And the last one is drive to doctor. So these 3 example is for United Kingdom or UK abbreviation. Second is a period usually ends abbreviation of a title or names of institution. So the example here is Mr., Mrs., Co, and the end. The Mr. stand for an abbreviation for Mr. It is pronounced like the word Mr. The abbreviation Mr. has been in use since the 15th century. It is a variant of the word master. So the second is Mrs. Is the abbreviation of Mrs. and refers to married woman. Miss came about in the 1950s as women sought to differentiate themselves from being known by their marital status and it gained in stature in the 1970s. Today, it's more common to refer to a woman as Miss regardless of her marital status. So the third is the CO. CO stands for care of. This abbreviation is used in addresses when you are sending a letter or package to a person by using someone else's address or the address of a company. So the last one is INC. INC is stand for an abbreviation of incorporated, and both the abbreviation and the full word mean that a company business structure is a legal corporation. But periods can be omitted after professional and personal titles. So the example is Mr., Mrs., Prof, and Doctor. So, Mr. stand for a title used before a surname or full name to address or refer to a man without a higher or honorific or professional title. While the Miss stand for Miss when addressing young girls and women under 30 that are unmarried. And the Prof stand for professor, commonly abbreviated as a prof, is an academic rank at universities and other post-secondary education and research institution in most countries. And the last one example is doctor. So doctor stand usually used as an abbreviated form of the title doctor before a doctor name, doctor abbreviation. And the name of institution and countries. The example here is USA, BPI, DPWH, and Asia. So, USE stand abbreviation for United States of America, while BPI, founded in 1851, stand for Bank of the Philippine Island, is the first bank in the Philippines and in the Southeast Asian region. So the DPWH stand for the Department of Public Works and Highways. The ASEAN stand for Association of Southeast Asian Nations. So the last is the three initial of a person's name, often used within institution, may not have periods and are always unspaced, but when the first and middle name initial used with surnames may have space and periods. The example is FDR stand for Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And the last is T.S. Eliot, stand for Thomas Stearns.
Good day, ma'am. My name is Christian Jay Dalogdog. I report punctuating title. So, punctuating title is a title of full works like books or newspapers should be italicized. Titles of short works like poems, articles, short stories, or chapters should be put in quotation mark. Titles of books that form a larger body of work may be put in quotation mark if the name of the book series is italicized. Punctuating title verses use double quotation marks for titles of poems, essay, short story, song, paintings, and small creative works if they are part of the sentence. E.g., we are tired listening to you singing Top of the World. Title of books, periodicals, symphonies, operas, song or choral cycles, and other larger creative work must be italicized or underscored. Number 2 is place a comma between part of literacy or musical works. Number 3 is Number 3 is don't use a period after a title or heading.
Good day everyone, my name is Alexie Marie P. Espaldon from BSED1 Section 1. So, for this video, I will report the assigned topic for me about punctuating list. So, how do you punctuate a list? Punctuation is used to separate the items in the list. The of doing, this is to place a comma after each item in the list. For example, if I told you I have a cat, a dog, and a bird as my pets, I just created a list within the natural flow of the sentences. If you are simple items, as above, separate each item with a comma. If you should use and or just before the last item to indicate the conclusion of the list. And here is the right way to punctuate list. First, a comma or no punctuation for lists that do not contain the main verb. Commas to separate words and word groups in a simple series of 3 or more items. Example, my estate goes to my husband, son, daughter-in-law, and nephew. Note, when the last comma in a series comes before and or after daughter-in-law in the above example, it is known as the Oxford comma. Second, a stop after each sentence for the list that contain at least one item with multiple sentences. And last, a semicolon otherwise. Semicolon separate items in a complex list. For example, the council is comprised of 10 members, 3 from Sydney, Australia, 4 from Auckland, New Zealand, 2 from Zova and Fiji, and 1 from Honiara, Solomon Islands. So before I end my topic, here's the 4 punctuating list. Number 1. Use a colon to introduce a list to apply for a student's driver's license. You need to show A. Original copy of your birth certificate and B. Valid ID. Number 2. Use a period of numbers and letters marking items in a list formatted vertically. Example, success in writing a thesis requires A. Discipline and B. Hard work and C. Perseverance. Parentheses are used for numbers or letters, making the items if the list is part of the sentence. Example, success in writing a thesis requires A. Discipline and B. Hard work and letter C. Perseverance. Number 3. Dashes or bullet, small dots, squares, and etc. may also need to mark items in a vertically list. Example, success in writing a thesis requires A. Discipline and letter B. Hard work and letter C is perseverance. And the last number is 4. If the entire enumeration comprises one sentences, a semicolon at the end of each enumerated clause may be used. At the end of the lesson, the students are expected to number 1. Identify the kinds of sentences according to use. And number 2, use the different kinds of sentences according to use to express intended meaning. And last, number 3, express ideas clearly and appropriately.
Hey everyone, this is my report about end of sentence punctuation. We have 3 options of punctuating the end of a sentence: a period, an exclamation mark, or a question mark. Each one sets a different tone for the whole sentence. That of a statement, an outcry, or a question, respectively. A period marks the end of a declarative sentence, a statement of fact. Example, the bus had 20 rows of seats. Today is my birthday. Period can also be used to the end an imperative sentence, a sentence that gives a command. Example, go down the stairs and turn right. A question mark indicates a question or occasionally a statement of surprise or disbelief. Example, is it 5 o'clock yet? That is your answer. An exclamation point is used to show excitement or emphasis. Example, there's a shark in the water. It can also follow interjections. Example, wow, that's some new hairstyle. Hey, in both cases, it should be used.
Good day everyone! My name is Hazel Mar Gallardo from BSED Section 1. For today's video, I'm going to report the last part of Unit 3 titled Punctuation, which is about punctuating within a sentence. Let's talk about question mark. Question mark, a punctuation symbol placed at the end of sentence or phrase to indicate a direct question. The question mark is also called an interrogation point, note of interrogation, or question point. Question mark at the end of interrogative sentence. We can use a question mark if a sentence is a question. You would use a question mark instead of a period or exclamation points. Here are the example of question mark. Are you happy to be home? So next, let's talk about exclamation points. It's a punctuation mark usually used after an interjection or exclamation to indicate strong feelings or to show emphasis. Exclamation points at the end of exclamatory sentence. So in addition, is one that express a strong or forceful emotion such as anger, surprise, or joy. Example of exclamation points are, that's fantastic. Number 2, thanks God, you saved our life. Next, about comma. Use a general comma to indicate a pause or a set of pauses setting of a word, phrase, or clause from the rest of the sentence. It must mark the grammatical unit you want to set off. Here are the examples. So you can put a comma to set off adjectival phrase and adverbial elements from the main sentence. So a comma or a pair of commas is used for first, transition, word, and phrases. Second, a positives set off by a pair of comma. Third, name of persons directly addressed. Lastly, words or phrases in a list. So let's proceed in semicolon. Semicolon are punctuation mark used to separate parts of the sentences. Use a semicolon in the following instances. First, two independent clauses. Use a semicolon when separating two independent clauses that are not joined by the conjunction. Here are the examples. Second, to join two independent clauses with a conjunctive adverb. Examples are however, therefore, consequently, nevertheless, furthermore, and moreover. Note for this there is a semicolon before the conjunctive adverb and a comma after it. Here are the examples. Lastly, series. Use a semicolon to separate elements in a series that already contain commas. Here are the examples of series. So next, about colon. The colon introduces a quotation, an example, or a series and separates two independent clauses when the second explains the first. Colon used to give emphasis, present dialogue, introduce list or text, and clarity composition title. So colon is used when the second sentence clarify or explain the first sentence. So instead of a period when the two clauses have a connection such that a period would be too hard of a break. Here are the examples. So next, about brackets. Brackets are used to clarify meaning or provide technical explanation within the text. Brackets clarify the original text by an editor. So brackets are symbols that we use to contain extra information or information that is not part of the main content. In example number 1, Martha was not part of the original sentence and the editor added it for clarification. In number 2, example, the original writer made a spelling mistake, so later on when someone quote them, they added chips for clarification. Chips was not part of the original sentence. Next one is about braces. Braces, alternately referred to as curly brackets, are tall punctuation marks that are used in computer programming, music notation, and certain types of mathematical problem, but rarely in articles or literary texts.
Here are the example of braces.
Next is about parentheses. Parentheses are used to contain qualifying remark or further information. They can usually be replaced by parenthetical commas. Parentheses use of phrase, word, or sentence that added into writing as extra information or an afterthoughts. Next is about apostrophe. Apostrophe is used to indicate omission of a letter from a word, the possessive case or the plurals of lowercase letters. So by the way, lowercase letter, the shortened and smaller version of uppercase letters. So apostrophe is a punctuation mark used to mark omission and possessive of noun and pronoun. So apostrophe is useful for replacing missing letter. So in addition, apostrophe also used in writing contractions, that is shortened form of word from which one or one letter have been omitted.
Here are the example of apostrophe.
Next is about quotation mark. Quotation mark are used to mark a section of text, a quotation, dialogue, or standout word or phrase. Also known as quotes or inverted commas, are used to indicate direct speech or quotation. So quotation mark in English writing, also known informally as quotes, talking marks, speech marks, quote marks, or speech mark, are punctuation order to identify it as a quotation, direct speech, or a literal title or name. In academic writing, you need to use quotation mark when you quote a source.
Here are the example of quotation mark.
So lastly is about ellipsis. Ellipsis is a singular form of the word, meaning one. Ellipsis is a punctuation mark consisting of 3 dots. Use an ellipsis when leaving out a word, phrase, sentence, paragraph, or more from a quotation. So ellipsis, in summary, the ellipsis is a form of punctuation used in writing the English language. It can be used to show an omission, to show a pause made by using 3 periods in a row. So also, ellipsis, it indicates that some words are missing.
Example of ellipsis.
So these are more punctuation marks. So I know that all these are familiar to us because when we texting, chatting, or communicating someone, we use emojis. So here are some more punctuation marks such are happy, sad, sending a kiss, crying, surprised, confused, winking, upset, and also grinning.